I am battling cancer. I'm lesbian, but I have realized I love my male best friend of 25 years. My dearest friend in the world is a man named James. James and I grew up in the same town, a small conservative Christian town. The first time I met him was on the playground at school. He saw me sitting alone under a tree and came over to ask me if I wanted to play with him and his friends. I said no, but he noticed I was reading a book about space. So he sat down next to me and asked me which planet I thought would be the coolest to visit. We ended up talking for the rest of recess about what we thought the other planets might be like, and when we went back to class he introduced me to his friends as my new friend. We were inseparable from that point on. It was one of those things where the entire town had us married off by age 8. We didn't understand at the time, of course, but I would go on family trips with his family, stay over at his place and vice versa through most of elementary school. Get in trouble for talking during class every day, though not really because the teachers all loved him. When we finally reached the awkward teenage years and dating became a thing, he asked me to the first school dance and I said yes. We sort of started dating by default. I don't think we ever talked about it explicitly, but I just started calling him my boyfriend to other people and we went with that. Very little changed about our relationship. We still basically just did all the same stuff we used to do before, except our parents got stricter about the sleepovers and there was more hand-holding and cuddling. Kissing and stuff was always difficult for me and I didn't know why, but he never pushed me on it at all, not even once. The 2 times we tried he was able to tell very quickly that I was uncomfortable and he just shut the interaction down by messing up my hair playfully, saying enough of that, how about we just watch a movie? I just assumed one day I would get it. Well, I didn't. Sometime around 15 years old I started to realize the problem. I wasn't attracted to men. This was a very trying time for me. Given the kind of environment I grew up in, this was not acceptable. I went over to his house trembling. He had done what he always did, made my favorite snacks and got the controllers and my favorite game ready to go. He opened the door and gave me a hug and I came in. I was so scared. We sat down and he looked at me for a second before putting his hand on mine and asking me what was wrong. So, I tried to tell him, and I got halfway through the sentence, struggling to actually say I'm gay, before he just interrupted me and said, "You are gay." "Yes, I know. Is there anything else?" Followed by that goofy smile I love so much. I just froze in place. I asked him if he was mad and he just laughed and told me he loved me the way I was, and this was the way I was. I just started crying and jumped into his arms. We stayed best friends after that. We never actually had a breakup talk, but we did start to date other people. We hung out almost every day until we graduated and he went away to a big name college. The night before he left he came and picked me up and we drove around town and hit all our favorite spots. He drove me back home at 3 a.m. or something in the rain and I took his hand during the drive home and fell asleep on his shoulder. He promised to stay in touch, but I didn't know if that would happen. Well, it did. Obviously it wasn't like before, but he made sure to call me every week just to check up on me and see how things were going.